Hi everybody, thanks for coming. I'm Krista. I live in Springfield and I'm a concerned citizen about where my tax money's going for war instead of all these social needs that are, so urgent at this time.
Hello, my name is Molly Sirois, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a community member, and I am here on behalf of my dear friends in Palestine, in Gaza and the West Bank, and for all Palestinians. Thank you all for showing up. Really, really, every effort matters.
And this is just organized by, not just, but Molly and I, and but we're here in unity with groups around the world for a free Palestine, and I want to hold up nonviolent guidelines because I think that nonviolence is very powerful and has the best lasting effect. And so I'm going to read guidelines from the School of the Americas Watch. And we gather in the diverse traditions of nonviolence with respect for the right to self-determination of oppressed peoples and communities. Together, we envision a day in which a culture of peace with justice and respect for Earth will prevail, where all people will live together free from oppression. In our tradition of nonviolence, we will gather together in a manner that reflects the world we choose to create. We will promote an alternative to domination systems by acting with love, respect, mutuality, compassion, and acceptance for the interdependence of all life. We will struggle for a world free from violence, and we will use actions, words, and symbols consistent with this struggle. We will not use or instigate violence against any person. We will act with respect for the people and property of the local community. We will promote the safety of ourselves and others through our actions and interactions. We commit to recognize and work to dismantle all forms of oppression in our personal relationships, local neighborhoods, globally, and with Earth herself.
So why are we here? Krista and I are here to bring attention to the fact that our elected officials are violating US laws by approving the provision of military aid to Israel as it commits genocide of the Palestinian people. Shame. One of those senators, thankfully, is opposed. But Senator Wyden, who happens to have an office in this very building, continues to approve the provision of military aid to Israel. So we are here to highlight that. These are the laws. We want to give credit to Veterans for Peace for publishing this list of US laws that Senator Wyden is violating. And so we're not just going to talk about this, we're here to really take action. And let me hand it over to Krista for more.
I think you pretty much covered it. On April 13th, the Senate voted for another $8 billion in military aid to Israel. And I want to recognize Senator Merkley and 14 other senators for doing the right thing, for following these laws. So we have to push Wyden to do the right thing.
So the action is for all of us to make the demand of Senator Wyden that he uphold the law. And I want to start us off by playing a message for you from some friends of mine.
This is SP from Cover. a village in the West Bank, Palestinian territories. Senator Wyden, who?
This is Wafa from Hebron in Palestine. Senator Wyden, uphold the law.
My name is Hanan Harb. I am from Ramallah in Palestine. Senator Wyden, uphold the law.
All right. Okay, here's our script. All right? And the idea is for all of us to say this after the train passes through in unison. And then we're going to...
Senator Wyden, uphold the law. No aid to Israel.
Thank you.
We're going to
Thank
practice
you.
as a group first.
No, but you got it. That's exactly what we're going to say. Precisely.
Senator Wyden, uphold the law. No aid to Israel.
Thank you.
Senator Wyden.
Okay, thank you, Todd. I was waiting for the train, so my thought was I'm going to just give the tempo once, then we'll all practice, then we'll do it together and I'll record it. Then our recording and my friends from Palestine's recordings, Krista and I tomorrow will call Wyden's office and play them. Okay, so here's the tempo. I'm not a conductor, I'm not a drum major, but Senator Wyden, uphold the law, no aid to Israel. Senator Wyden, uphold the law, no aid to Israel. Senator Wyden, uphold the law, no aid to Israel. Thank you. Now the train.
They did that on purpose. APAP did that.
Good one.
And here you did.
I need to rent one of these.
Okay. Kate, do you think I could just push the red button? Yeah, this way. Okay. Okay. Ready? Here. We're going to give it a go and record, and maybe we'll do 2 takes. Senator Wyden, uphold the law. No aid to Israel.
Senator Wyden,
Uphold the law. No aid to Israel. Okay, we're going to do it. Beautiful. And one more time so that I can choose the best.
Okay.
Senator Wyden, uphold the law. No aid to Israel.
Bingo.
Well done.
Yeah.
There you go. We got along.
And we need a specific response from Senator Wyden. So we're telling him we want that response soon and that we're preparing to escalate with nonviolent direct action, if, depending on his response, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, we are wanting a response. I wouldn't say we're expecting a response, but wanting a response. And so anyone here who wants to be notified of his response or lack thereof, we'd like you to put down your contact information so we can notify you. And then if you want to join in the next action, if we do not get a response, or if it's an unfavorable response. So we've got this notebook for contact info. Also, if you like, you can just remember, if you can, take down or remember this email address. You can reach us by using the following email: on the side of humanity @gmail.com.
So, as we prepare for nonviolent direct action, I invite you to a direct action training that's happening here in Eugene on Saturday, the 26th, from 1 to 6 p.m., and see me if you need more details. There are also resources online. For instance, nonviolenceinternational.net has information. And as we build up, I recognize that a lot of you have been engaged in this issue, and we've done a lot in our community, and there are already groups out there, and we encourage you, with whatever affinity group you're in, to join our action. And I'm going to read a quote by Chris Hedges about how we must sustain peaceful resistance. The structures of the corporate state must be torn down. Its security apparatus must be destroyed. And those who defend corporate totalitarianism, including the leaders of the two major political parties, fatuous academics, pundits, and a bankrupt press, must be driven from the temples of power. Mass street protests and prolonged civil disobedience are our only hope. A failure to rise up, which is what the corporate state is counting upon, will see us enslaved.
That's all we planned to say beyond, the action, and also we want to invite anyone who might have an announcement about an upcoming event related to this issue or any of the myriad of rights that are being violated right now by our government. Free Mahmoud Khalil. There was another student from Colombia just this afternoon who has been abducted by ICE agents. So we also think it's really important that any of us who don't know one another here to introduce ourselves and find ways to connect and stay connected. And if anyone does want to make an announcement, I want you to come on forward. And I just want to thank each and every one of you, because I said this at the beginning, I'll say this now, and I'll say it forever. I believe every action matters. I hear it from my friends in Palestine. When I convey to them anything anyone says in passing, a sign, a gesture, wearing a keffiyeh, wearing a sticker, showing up for rallies, it matters. Even if we don't see the changes here, I hear its impact in the hearts of my Palestinian friends. So on that note, free Palestine and stop the genocide. Thanks.
So yeah, if you have an announcement, please come forward at this time.
All right. My name is Alex Awad. I do not have an announcement. Yeah, my name is Alex Awad. I don't have an announcement, but I can tell you that I see a shift in the mood of the people here in Eugene, because I planted tulips and daffodils in my garden for the sake of supporting children in Gaza. I thought I may get $300 to $500 when I sell those tulips and daffodils. We had the sale at a local church here in Eugene, and we made over $4,600. That's an indication of people in Eugene turning sympathy toward the Palestinian situation. A person would come to buy a tulip for $5, and she or he will write a check for $20, $25, or even $100. This is how we made the money, not just from the sale of the tulips and the daffodils, but from all the donations. But also something interesting happened, that I see the change in the mood of the people in Eugene. And that is, you know, in order to put the tulips in pots, I went to what you call it, Lane Forest, to buy some rich soil. So I had 7 buckets full of rich soil, and I went inside to pay for them. And the person behind the counter, he said, wow, you know, that's 7 buckets, I'll give you a discount because there are so many. I said, yeah, that will help me with my project. He said, what's your project? I said, I'm raising funds for the children of Gaza. Guess what he said?
You can have it for free.
He said, on the house. You don't have to pay a penny. You know, I mean, this is the change that I am seeing. By the way, I'm a Palestinian. I was born in Jerusalem. In 1948, my father was shot and killed in the first Arab-Israeli war. And I and 6 other siblings and my mother, instantly we became refugees. Today I was talking with my sister who lives in California. She said, yeah, this is our tragedy, but it is nothing compared to what is happening in Gaza today. And therefore, I thank every one of you for being here. I thank you for your stand against genocide. And I'll tell something else, if you allow me to.
Oh, please, please.
Okay, another story that happened before the pandemic. Senator Wyden came to Eugene, and he invited some religious leaders, and I'm a pastor, a retired pastor, so I was one of those religious leaders that went to meet him and listen to him and ask him questions. So he talked about many issues, then I put my hand up and I said, what about the situation in the West Bank and Gaza? He immediately wanted to shut me off, as if I didn't come here to Eugene to talk about this subject. I have other more important issues. But I continued. I said, people, mind you, this is before the pandemic. I said, the situation there is explosive. And if you don't take care of it now, it will really get worse. He said, what do you want me to do? I said, listen, I have a letter in my hand, and the letter tells you exactly what to do. Would you take the letter and read it? He said, sure, I'll take your letter. So when everybody dismissed, I went and I gave him the letter in his hand. I have my picture with him, giving him the letter. And you know what? I don't know whether he ever read the letter or not. I never heard from him. And every time I, contact him, they'll give me a form letter. You know, you've all received that form letter, the same form letter. But in the letter, I said to him, look at the situation in Gaza, look at the siege of Gaza. If we don't do anything about it, it will be much more violent than it is today. I was telling him exactly what it is, and it is so sad that he did not listen to me. I hope this time he would listen. He should listen, because he is a survivor of the Holocaust. His people suffered like the people in Gaza are suffering. He should be the first one to have empathy on the people of Gaza. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Oh, thank you. I'm sensing a meeting in person with Wyden in this building. All of us. Stay tuned.
I believe in humankind. I believe in humankind. I believe in humankind. I believe in humankind. So, I've been doing this since 1970, so that's, I guess, 55 years. And so some of you younger people, you will be me in 2080. Because this shit is never going to be, it's permanent. And so basically I just want to point out that the anti-war movement is mighty. And we stopped John Kerry in 2004. He stepped up to be the Democratic candidate, and the anti-war movement already knew him, and we stopped him. We stopped Hillary Clinton. We knew who Hillary Clinton was, and she lost. Hey, who else did we?
She would have been a better president than Trump.
Yeah, but the problem is that the Democratic Party is sucking up all the oxygen out of the room, and we can't have a third party that's going to do the right thing. And so our real problem is to get rid of the Democratic Party. So I'm going to say,
how are we getting rid of the Republican Party first?
but I'm going to say, hey, ho, ho, Ron Wyden has got to go.
So it's about 5:30. We don't have long speeches. Our goal is to share this information and amplify it and encourage everyone to be in an affinity group and participate in nonviolent direct action and build community, which we already have, that just make it stronger. So we encourage you all to meet somebody you don't already know. And thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you for raising our voices.
Good job, Krista.
The other option is to just head to the street there and hold our signs and be visible. So Scott also has an announcement.
I used to live in Utah, and in the run-up to the Iraq War, we went and occupied our congressman's office, and we read the letter from Birmingham jail, and eventually people got arrested. And one of the aides to the congressman came up and said, "Well, if Ralph Nader wouldn't have ran, we wouldn't be in this situation." And we were making all these pronouncements of why that wasn't the case. And one of our friends just cut to the quick. He said, "Well, it's decided fair and square, 5-4." Remember, that's what the Supreme Court decided. Bush versus Gore. But I'm showing a movie. Actually, we are. Anyone who wants to come, it's going to be on the 7th of May, and it's called Berkeley in the 60s. I'm part of the IWW, Industrial Workers of the World, and back in the the teens of the last 100 years ago, we did this thing where they said you couldn't speak in the street, to organize people into unions, but they let the Salvation Army do their thing. And so they started arresting people, and people just loaded up the jails, and then everybody had to pay for these people. And finally, the thing started in Spokane, and finally the citizens got sick of paying for the people to be in jail, and they were able to break this law. And then this Berkeley in the 60s is really an interesting move, because they had like these campus people on campus, recruiters for corporations that were involved with the military-industrial complex, and people stood up and they tried to arrest one person, and they got him in the cop car. He was driving out, and everybody surrounded the cop car, all sat down, and they used the cop car as a soapbox, and everybody jumped up on the soapbox with the cop and the person they were arresting inside. But it's an amazing story. It was nominated for an Academy Award. It's going to be on 13th and Jefferson. And it's on the 7th at 7 o'clock. I'm going to have it in the weekly too. So.
What's that? McNeil Riley House?
Yeah, McNeil Riley House. If you know, it's right across the street from the courthouse. But this whole clampdown on free speech by the Trump administration is just so mind-blowing to me. Okay. I'm just. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryder, come on up. Thanks, Scott.
All right, so I have a few upcoming things to share in the spirit of building community and continuing to take action with our fellow activists and organizers. So I'm guessing a lot of you are familiar with SEEK, the Springfield Eugene Anti-Imperialist Coalition. If you're not, it meets the third Thursday of every month. So this Thursday at 5:30 at Growers Market is going to be a pretty important meeting because we're going to talk about just the structure behind this organization, how we want it to function as a way for like activists to get tuned in with events, get connected with each other, find affinity groups. So looking to take action, highly recommend coming out to Growers Market Thursday at 5:30. And then coming up is May Day, a big international holiday that celebrates working class solidarity. And we have quite a few upcoming May Day events. So on Thursday, May 1st, May Day itself, there's going to be a rally and march downtown. It starts at 5:30 at Park Blocks. We're going to march around downtown and go back to Park Blocks. And then Sunday, May 4th is going to be the annual May Day Festival, also at Park Blocks. It's going to have food, speeches, music, tables from a variety of different community orgs, social services. So while these two events are not explicitly for Palestinian solidarity, they are, because solidarity with the working class applies to the entire world, and it's important to keep the rights of Palestinians in our hearts as we struggle and have solidarity with members of the working class here in the Imperial Core. So we'd love to have you out at all of these. Wear your keffiyehs. Yeah, May 1st, May 4th. Come celebrate May Day.
Please let us video. Tell them, we need a video so people can see what's going on in Eugene. They always stop me from shooting my fucking videos. Right.
Video to your heart's content. Spread the word. None of us are liberated until all of us are liberated.
Yes, yes indeed. Free Palestine. Stop the genocide.
Free Palestine. Stop a genocide.
I'm heading to the street.
Free Palestine. Stop a genocide.
Viva Palestina!
Viva! Viva Palestina!
Viva Palestina!
I'll post her up at the library.